good evening to one and all present here today once again. And on behalf of the Homework App team and myself, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest speaker for the day, Mr. Pramod Deshpande, who is going to take us to the topic of smart lesson plans as per the 21st century and adhering to the NEP 2020. Sir is an extraordinary personality who has been lauded in his field of work and has numerous years of competitive experience. He serves as a CBSE mentor, a core member of the Global Teachers Forum, core member of the AIEF, that is the All India Educators Forum, and has attained professionalism in public speaking, MS Office, management, and teaching. We welcome Sir once again and request him to take over the session.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for such a kind introduction.
Thank you, sir.
So, am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir, clearly.
Okay. So, good evening, all of you. It's been pleasure to be here, and I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Mog app who have given me this opportunity to have something for all of you for today's evening. So, there are a few things I just would like to let you know before the session starts. Is whoever has a doubt can post it in the chat, or you can raise the hand wherever you find key. Uh, yeah, there is something I need to add, or I find there's a doubt, please let me know so that we can go it accordingly. So it's been quite a time now. Government is all about national education policies, and there are different things involved in it. So how our lesson plans need to be as per NEP 2020. So I really like the way the name they have put for my webinar is smart lesson plans. I feel smart is the most important word, not only in terms of being smart, but yeah, it is very important you to be smart even while preparing lesson plans also. So it is very important that our NEP is focusing on the life skills of the children. Ultimately, yeah, children do learn from the textbook, children do learn from the surrounding, children do learn from n number of things. Sometimes we couldn't even able to guess key, okay, this is the platform from where the children are learning. They have a numerous ways of learning. So ultimately, why are we making children to learn? Why are we teaching in the class? The ultimate aim is they should be superior in their life skills. So initially, let us just focus on few life skills which are very important, I feel, uh, in the 21st century. Is planning is very important. Since being teacher, all of us know how planning plays an important role. It's not the plan which we put it on the paper before entering the class, but once the plan is made, how do you deliver it in the class is also important. It's also equally important. So questioning, knowing why, every question has a why. It doesn't matter which subject is it. Is it a history or geography, science, any subject? Every question has a why. Creativity, being creative is one of the most advanced and important skill these days. Being curious, being confident, critical thinking. Let us think out of the box every time. Let us try to find out what is there across the wall. Then we have motivation, communication, analysis. If I have performed a few experiments, then what are the observations of the experiment? What do I observe? And from the basis of observation, what I am going to conclude from the observation is also very important. Decision making is very important. Children must be able to understand ki, why have I taken that decision? What is the reason behind taking decision? What are the consequences which are going to happen after this decision? When flexibility, actually the list is endless, but I feel there are few skills which are very important, which all of us must see while preparing the plans key. After the session or after the class, at least children should go through the few skills, or children should get practice the few skills, so as they get better and better day by day. So the normally the way we introduce or we start the lesson plan is very important to put the grade and the section, the subject, the topic. It depends how do you plan your lesson plan, whether it is a day wise or the session wise or week wise, like unit wise. There are various ways of preparing the lesson plan as per the conveniency. But let us try to figure it out. Key, what could be the best way to have the lesson plan? It is always a lesson plan which go a session wise. So what are you going to do in a session of 35 minutes? What are you going to do in a session of 45 minutes? So how can we introduce or be more creative in those particular times so as to have a good output from the children? So The most important part, or we can say the backbone of the lesson plan, is objectives. What my children are going to do after learning this particular topic, what my children are able to learn, or what my children are going to do, that is objective. So since the name of the webinar is smart lesson plans, so like smart lesson plans, the most important part is objectives needs to be smart. So what do you mean by smart? Objective has to be specific. You have to be very specific. Like if they are learning about atmosphere, then what are they learning about atmosphere? What are the things which are involved in the atmosphere? How are they going to learn? Then next is specific, then is measurable. Is the objective very vast, or is the objective bit vague, so that they are able to achieve it? So measurable is important, achievable is also important. Whether after learning this particular topic, is the learned topic achieved by them, is relevant, is most important key. Is it relevant to the topic? And the time bound key, is it going to get cover in the time span of 35 minutes or 45 minutes? So whenever you make the objectives for the lesson plan, you always have to cross check whether the objectives you all have made are smart. The objective needs to be smart. Then next is material. Most of the times, when it comes to material, since doing D.Ed and B.Ed and all those courses, I make us to know ki the material needs to be blackboard, chalk, duster, book, notebook, pen. I feel now let us go a step ahead, and uh, whenever you plan something, it is always as per the child's interest or the children's interest. Suppose we have a class of 30, or we have a class of 40 students. So how is the class? What is the general interest of the class? Few students like drawing, few students like singing, few students are good in sports. So try to design activities in your plan in such a way that you keep the interest in mind for the children who are there in the class. So whatever the activities you are going to do, obviously some of the activities can go as a pre-work, some of the activity can be done in the class. So what materials you going to use to perform the activities? So that could be the material. If I am performing experiment on formation of clouds, so let there be a glass and the water and the heat, and so all those things can be listed as a material rather than listing as blackboard, chalk, dusters. These are some traditional ways. Then how are we going to start your? Now you have planned well. Okay, now you have planned well, but you're not getting the hook which hooks your plan. So hook is very important key. How are we going to start your plan? So the start can always be amazing, the start can always be beautiful. So how it can be made? So many a time, if it is your first period, children do prayers, the period begins. If it is a second and third and fourth, so children, you know most of the time they've been distracted, uh, since there's a break between two periods, or there's a short break of 2 to 3 minutes when a teacher enters and leaves the class and new one enters the class. So children are always distracted. So how to get them into the flow, how to you know avoid their distractions. So this can be done by any of the icebreaker or any activity you can do. Let them tell something, let them share something. How are they feeling, what are they feeling? They always have a bunch of stuff with them. It could be, this is what happened in yesterday's cricket match. Let them tell. Try to see that how their attention comes in the flow. This is very important. So why do we all this? Just to bring them mentally in the class. Next is interest is very important. Like as I just spoken 2 minutes ago ki, uh, what a topic you have, and what is the interactivity you have, so that you can make them interested in the topic. So interest can be brought by the form of puzzle also. It could be, if you have a science class, it could be as an experiment also. A probing question can also be used. Show them a video clip, ask them what did they see, what did you watch, let them have their opinions. GIF files is the best thing we all can have. We can Google it and in images we get various GIF files, just short videos of 3 to 4 seconds. A pop quiz can also be conducted. So this is again an important and vital part of the lesson plan. Ki, how are you making interested? How are you making children interested in the topic? If I am going to teach area, if I'm going to teach a perimeter, have them some craft activity. Let them feel that there's a paper and there's a folding, and what happens after three folds, what happens after 4 folds. Have make something which is beautiful in the craft. So basically, why interest is to now they are mentally in the class, but let them involve in the topic also. So initially, with the help of start, we bring them mentally in the class, but now it is the time to bring them in the topic also. So I always feel ki we've been much familiar with the social media and the reality shows. Look, when a singer sings, like whenever he start with the intro alap and all, you know, intro alap is something which is an introduction of the song, but how he does the transition from alap to the actual song, that transition needs to be very smooth, like the way over here ki, how have you created the interest and how have you blown them into the topic, which is very important. This transition is very important. If you could able to do it smoothly, I feel half of the battle is won there itself. Just a minute. Then next comes the teach part. Ki, how are we going to teach? I feel uh, when you have a class of 30 children or 40 children, uh, there are some traditional ways of teaching, which have been from many years. Like a teacher comes and talks and make them do something and ask the questions and assess them, and that's it. So how can we make this teach part very interesting? So most of the time, for the higher classes like 11th and 12th, whenever there are subjects like physics or account, where a teacher needs to talk more to make them understand the particular term or to make them understand a particular phenomenon. So somewhere for higher classes, it is mandatory for the teachers to talk and explain to get them what the topic is all about and to understand the topic pretty well. But instead of lecturing, like I'm sure it doesn't matter whether the children of junior college or the high school or the middle school, it is all about no one likes lecturing. No child likes lecturing. Every child likes something rather than lecturing. If lecturing keep on happens, if it becomes monotonous, then somewhere we lose the flow of the class and the initially the class becomes oops or chaotic kind of. So rather than lecturing, what else can be done in the class? Like I am not saying ki teacher should not talk at all. Yes, teacher must talk, but he can have help of all those points which I've listed on my screen. Ki let the teach begin with the activity again or an experiment related to the topic. Let them make a model. Let them make a specimen observation. Show them a video if it is geography, like how volcano forms. Show them a video. Ask them to put their opinion. Put them in the group of 4 or group of 5. Cooperative learning is the best thing where teach component can be used very effectively. Then images, questions, field trip are very interesting these days. Wherever you just need to keep in mind that whenever the teach part is happening, let the teacher be a facilitator. Let the teacher just ensure that yes, the class is on the line and it is going very properly. But try to see that teacher is not just lecturing, and the class is becoming monotonous. Children are just listening, and it is keep on going. I'm sure we are, yeah, whenever we have a pin drop silence in the class and the teacher will keep on talking and he's talking very interestingly, it is a story of English, Hindi, any regional particular language, and we feel look at how silent class is, everyone is listening kind of, but we never know whether the children are mentally present in the class or not. So if you make children to do more instead of listening, I'm sure children do involved in the class very nicely. That is the reason child-led classes are very important, where children are centered. Child centric classes can also be other term which be used. Ki let the focus have let the focus have maximum on the children. Think ki how in the each part of our lesson plan how children are doing more and teacher is doing less. Let them do more they do, more they understand. If it is an activity, they feel uh, the materials. And like recently, when I was doing carbon and compounds in class 10th, I realized ki, yeah, it is very easy to say there's a carbon carbon single bond, carbon carbon double bond. And even they find it very easy being carbon tetravalent, having valency 4 and carbon forms chains and rings. But how abstract it is, it's absolutely abstract. Like how can we make them to feel carbon carbon bond? So then we have thought of using the matchstick as a bond, and then we put like we draw carbon carbon and we put a matchstick and then double bond and the single bond. Then we thought we have the structures like diamonds and graphites. We can make those structures with the help of straws, even with the help of mastic. So let this abstract become concrete, which is very important. So I just feel ki this teach part is something where teacher needs to talk, but more than that, I would like to say ki if the teacher becomes facilitator and if he gives more opportunities to the children or the people in the class, I'm sure they learn more than what we expect. So that becomes teach. Then is apply. When they learn something, how are they going to apply it? So if it is a science, obviously model making. If you are doing ball and socket joint, doesn't matter which grade you are in and you are doing it, so let them make a model. If it is English or any other language, creative writing can always be an important aspect of it. Let them draw diagrams, let them draw their own. Like many times we make children to observe under microscope, and we tell them now draw it is the way it is given in the journal, the way it is given in the textbook. But more than that, what I feel is let them observe under microscope with the notebook. Let them see under microscope and just put it in the notebook. Doesn't matter what shape it comes, how it comes, but let them feel it what they are drawing. Manipulative based activities are also important, worksheets are important, group projects are also important, and most importantly, let them relate their learning to day life experiences. If I have taught structure of flower in the class, let the children go out, let them observe the flower, let them feel the flower. Oh, these are the sepals, these are the petals. Feeling is very important. When there's a proper coordination between hand, heart, and head, which the world of philosophy talks about, which is very important from the perspective of NEP 2020. So this is how we can make apply also very interesting. Ki, uh, not just the topic is taught and few questions are listed on the board and just solve it. No, let the apply be also very interesting. Again, as I said, ki how important the involvement of children is. So I just want to say right from the start, even till the end, as I'm going to proceed, for every slide, I have ensured ki even we all of us try to think of it ki how can we make it interesting for the children. Doesn't matter whether it's a teach or essays or any component of the lesson plan. Try to see that involvement of children is more, so that they learn more. So this becomes apply. Next is assess. So how are we going to assess? So here you have an amazing scope to introduce creativity. Like pop quizzes can also be used as an assess. Group presentations, like children, you give them a topic, let them present what they have understood, let them apply. And here, we cannot expect, or we never, we can say like ki, children come up with some beautiful ideas over here in the assess. We do not even expect ki, oh, this is the child who doesn't do anything in the class, but while presentation he has come up with such a superior ideas. So there are few quotes which talks about creativity. If you want creative people around, I feel give them more time to play. and whenever you give them their self time, their play time for specifically for children, they come up with amazing creativity. So group presentation is something they have made the model. Let them present the model, how have they made, and what are the materials they have used, and what science you found in the model. So these are the things which inculcate many skills in being together, being united, supporting each other. So every aspect of your activity or every aspect of your plan has amazing outputs. So it is us, we need to plan the lesson plan in such a way ki how can we give the more scope to their skills, so that their skills gets practiced and developed day by day. MCQs are, as it's all about homework app. The MCQs are very creative, very creatively put. When there are some oral examples can be on case study based questions are an integral part of the term 2 papers, where the concepts clarity can be tested. Situation based questions are also important. Assertion reasoning, which is introduced by CBSC, can be also used in the assess. So this tells us ki how assess can be done effectively, rather than just asking them questions orally. There are still various ways. Here again you have a good scope for creativity, as I just spoken earlier. Next is closure. How are we closing the topic? uh, it could be a form of in the quick recap what we have done so far. Like we started like this, we have learned like this, and this is how you apply and you assess. So just a quick recap, and introduce your tomorrow's topic. Could be in the form of story, or could be in the form of situation, could be in the form of any case, and let them try to figure it out key what is all about, so that it in short like a pre-work, but make them more interesting. If it is a history chapter, then if children are learning about battle okay, so what is about next battle, between whose it is, share them a video of that particular battle, let them watch. So that let's not make them imagine all the time. I feel that imagination is important, but somewhere we do not know whether all children could able to imagine or not. So rather than having thing abstract, try to see how things can be more clear and concrete to them, so as to the learning becomes more effective in this case. So this is part as a closure. This is, I feel, again very important. You have the particular topic is learned, as applied, assessed, and now homework. This is, I think so, most of the children do not like, since when it comes to writing they be lazy sometimes. They are not even in the mood of writing, but how can we put our brains in this, so that the homework becomes something which is favorite for them, which is good for them, and they do the same with the interest. So yeah, I do agree. Question answers is always something which should be as a homework, since it gives maximum scope for the writing skills. And when it comes to writing, reading is also done. So, but I feel writing question answers in the notebook is never a good task for every time. But instead of that, what else can be done? If it is a if the teacher has talked about a garden, or if the teacher has talked about anything like vermicomposting project, something like that. So let them visit and let them collect information, let them do surveys. These days we have technology in its best form. So by using the technology, there can enough survey there can be enough surveys done. So if they can do survey, they can have the data, let them analyze the data, let them present the data, what the data talks about and what it is. So surveys can also be a very good homework. Then next is uh, higher order thinking skill questions. Again, HOTS are important from the perspective of examination. let them do a chart or a poster, you know. If the teacher talks about reflection in the class, if the teacher talks about refraction or many concepts, especially phenomenon, let them shoot a video, let them film a video. It may sound a bit pompous that can this be a homework, shooting a video or filming a video. But I really would like to let you know, I have experienced this. Yeah, this is always a good homework, because observation, I feel, is an important skill for all of us. And more you observe with clarity, your virtues get clear. Ki, why are you observing? What are the reasons behind the observing? And more the observation gets clearer. So it gives a good score for the observations. And more or less, because of observation, again, there is kind of interest comes in the work which they do. And this is how you can make the homework interesting. Like, there's a game can also be a good homework. So how is it? I just would like to take you all through this. Just let me know whether my screen is visible or not. So game can this I have just being a science teacher, I have choose this topic. Key, the name of the game is Bacteria in the Cafeteria. Okay, so where children learn about different species of bacteria and the types of bacteria and the work they do. So we all know that not all bacteria are harmful, but there are few which are really useful. I just wanted to know, is my screen visible for the game? Can I get virtual thumbs up so that I can proceed through that?
Sir, can you repeat again?
Is my game screen visible?
Game? No, sir. No, it's not visible.
Can you see something like Bacteria in the Cafeteria on my screen?
Mm, there's one emoji which is there, but nothing else.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a minute. Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute. Yeah, sharing. Please excuse me for a few minutes. Yeah, is it visible now? Can I get the virtual thumbs up if it is visible?
Sir, it's not visible actually. Yeah, it's visible now. It's visible now.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am. So the name of the game is Bacteria in the Cafeteria. Okay, so how can we proceed with this? We have just given the introduction also. And after the game, we are going to know one more fact about interesting fact about bacteria. Why don't microbes get married? Because they are. What are the reasons? Okay, so why? So let us try to go through a game. Okay, I will share this link with all of you in the chat, so you can also go through it and find it out. Just a minute, I'm posting it in the chat also. Hmm. So now here, what you need to do is you are supposed to find out some stars. So where you find out the stars, like the stars are hidden over here. So okay, here I have got one. What the star is? Every time you take a breath, you are inhaling billions of microbes that are floating in the air. Do do these bacteria help people? So yeah, okay. So you have received one of the letter. So like this way, you are going to find out more stars. Like one here we have one more. The raw meat can be loaded with bacteria like Salmonella that could make you sick. Do these bacteria help people? No. So in this way, you are going to get the letters, and at the end of that, you are going to get two interesting words, which will make children. Yeah, I'll share. I'll share the link. I don't know why am I not able to. Okay, now you must have got the link in the chat. Okay, so such types of games, always help them. Uh, like your homework becomes interesting. This creates interest in the topic also. So somewhere, children get involved in the class, and more the involvement, more the learning happens. Okay, let me continue with my PPT. Now, let us understand ki when you say a plan is good, what does the good lesson plan has? So as I just spoke about initially, the objectives are important, the smart, the language of the objectives again. More or less, we use kind of words in the objectives which might be big words, hard to pronounce, hard to understand. Rather than that, try to have the objectives which are child facing, which are children facing. So more the language used as a children first, better, and the creative objective it becomes. So it needs to be relevant to the topic. Objective needs to be knowledge as well as skill based. What knowledge children are going to get after achieving this objective, and it's not only the knowledge, which skill is going to practice after achieving this particular objective. As well as it needs to be accessible. So basically, in short, to sum up, it is very important and mandatory to have the smart objectives chosen for the session. Hook is also important, which creates interest in them about the class and about the topic. Then your intro needs to be very interesting and needs to be something like children engage at their best. All of us know attention span of children, it varies. Not all children can hear you throughout the class. There are few who can, there are few who cannot actually. So okay, ma'am, just let me complete this point. I'll take the question. Just a minute, Shweta ma'am and Dinesh sir. Just give me a minute. So as I was speaking about introduction, which needs to be very interesting, and your introduction should in such a way that it engage the children in what they are doing. Okay, so Harsha ma'am, I just would like to know should we take questions now or after the, like, how it goes for you all? Okay, I think so, ma'am cannot hear us. So let us take one question from Shweta ma'am. Yeah, ma'am, you can unmute and go ahead. Yeah, ma'am, go ahead. Okay, fine. Last 10 minutes are there for questioning. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for letting me know. Then next comes is variety in the activity is very important. If your hook of the class or the session is all the time same, children are more superior and they are intelligent. the session happens in the same pattern, the class happens in the same pattern, and somewhere when the same pattern keep on happening all the time, so it might not be interesting for them again. So try to have the variety of activities, try to have the variety in the activities. There is superb use of resources. We are uh, fortunate to have n number of resources. The resources are available online, offline. You have the libraries are also there. Various books are there of various publications, and online resources like Khan Academy, I feel, which is best for going through the subjects like science and maths and English. Even you have Duolingo, the one of the most interesting app to learn any language in the world very easily. So there are resources. It is just we need to find it out, and we need to dig those to get the best out of it. Where technology is used effectively. Since we are in the pandemic, and then we had lockdown when the classes were online. So technology is just not only about just sharing the screen and playing the video and making them watching video, but rather than that, using those resources effectively, like annotation. I feel whoever all use Zoom, so annotation is something you might have experienced. Initially it is like children were just drawing on the screen and drawing on the screen, but the same annotation I found very useful in geography, to uh, show the destinations or to show those particular mountains and particular points. So this helps very nice in the assessing them. Then making children relate with day-to-day life experiences. Doesn't matter you are teaching about history or teaching about geography or economics. Try to see how can you bring their learning in day-to-day life. Let them relate their learning in day-to-day life so as to have more and better understanding. Where assess part makes children think critically. Critical thinking is very important, and assess is something, the component of the plan, where you can put them, or you can make them the wear cap of creativity and let them think creatively. Let them think out of the box, which helps in developing creativity of the children, which gives scope to the skills of children. As I listed the life skills right at the start, we've realized your plan should give appropriate or enough scope to practice the skills, which is very important, which is made by keeping children in the mind. Yes, obviously the plan should made as per the uh, just a minute. Sorry. Where homework is not be done in the home notebook all the time. Just now I have spoken it about, which helps to develop all the life skill of the children, which science teaches. Since science is my subject, so I always feel doesn't matter whether the subject is language. I feel all the subjects are important. They are equally important, and being a child, one who learns all the subject, he or she should able to give enough amount of scope for all the subjects. Though one is going to be a doctor, one is going to be an engineer, this doesn't mean he or she shouldn't focus on the languages or shouldn't focus on the history and geography. So you make the plans in such a way that it doesn't matter whether he is being a doctor, but still he does history very interestingly. So it is a teacher, one who makes the plan and bring their interest to learn more and more. And yes, the last point is children are doing more. A good lesson plan is always one where children are thought, children are kept at the center, where children are doing more, where they are listening less and doing more. Always I feel a class is a pin drop silent class doesn't mean child is learning at its full potential. The child learns at its full potential only and when he does more in the class rather than just passively listening all the time in the class. There are some resources. I'm sure I'll be sharing this with you all later on. Where you can get interesting riddles, where you can get interesting puzzles. Uh, if you are a science person, then how toys and models and experiments can be done with the help of waste materials, which we literally not use and just throw somewhere in the bins. So that can also be used. There are games. I just shared one of the game with you all. So such resources are available. Use those resources very effectively, so as to have a good session or good class. I am done from my side. I would like to listen from you all. Thank you for bearing me patiently.
Yes, I'll just check if there are any questions in the chat box. So, sir, there's one
Sure, sure,
question
sure.
from Kasturi ji. Is it for all subjects?
Yeah. This is for, ultimately, since we make a plan, I feel doesn't matter whether it is a sports class or a music class or science class or Hindi class or economics class. The plan is important, and the plan is ultimately made. It's not to made only to learn or the learning for the children, but the plan is always made to practice the skills. All of them have skills. Some of them might have some skills where they are very good in. Some of them have those skills, but the skills are not at practice at their best. When you make a plan, it doesn't matter which subject is it, you all the time you need to see how the skills are getting practiced. What NEP talks the skills are important. Since being in the 21st century, it's mandatory to have skills. When you have a good bunch of skills or a good set of skills, and when it gets practiced, I feel that is always a more than enough.
Definitely, sir. Okay, sir, I think that if you can read the chat box, there are so many comments on interesting and wonderful. I think you must have a read of all of it. My God. Okay. So is there any other questions from
Yes.
educators? You can please post the chat box, so that sir can take the question up and we can answer it accordingly. Mm, okay, so there's one more question I can find from Meena ji. So learning objectives should be
Sure.
mentioned in the lesson plan. I think she's suggesting, or is it a question? I'm not sure.
uh, just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah. Learning objectives should be mentioned in the lesson plan. She has written.
Yeah, yeah. Learning objectives need to be mentioned, because many times what it happens, there are possibilities, where class can go on the other side, or when you know sometimes it is a child who comes up with the topic or a thought which may not be relevant to the topic, and unknowingly, I'm not saying purposefully, but unknowingly, kind of maybe the teacher talks on it and the children talks on it, and what it happens the main topic is left somewhere, and we go it on the another side of it. So to avoid it, I think so we should have the plan with us while teaching, and the objectives also. After the end of this session, these many sets of objective are going to be achieved and accessed by the children. So yeah, it is mandatory to mention the learning objectives in the plan.
Definitely, sir. So there's another question from Maheshwar ji. Is offline and online teaching lesson plan is the same?
Oh, that is a good question, but I always feel the one which I have just presented right now is both. It's for both actually. It's for online as well as offline. I feel this works pretty best when it is offline. When you have children with you, being with children virtually and being with children physically is a lots of a major difference. And I feel whenever you are with the children physically, this works like a magic. I feel so. This can be applicable for both online as well as offline.
That's perfect. Sir, so there's another question from Ms. Shruti V. Nair. Sir, can
Yeah.
you suggest some websites that gives online games like the one you have just shown here, based on the science
Okay.
content? Yeah,
Yeah. Sure, sure. Ma'am, actually, I have a bunch of it, and could it be done kind of like if I could share with you, and then it can go with them also, like because I have some Google Docs of it, and I don't know how possible for me right now to share everything over here, but I will try my best to get back to all those teachers if possible, or else uh, yeah, what we can do is I will just share a Google form over here. So whoever wants to know anything from me, they can put it there, and later on, as I get the time, and I will get back to them also at the same time.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. So there's another question from Shweta, Miss Shweta. Sir,
Yeah.
can you suggest some websites which gives, okay. So she also wants to know about the online games sites only, but for maths the content. So basically different subjects, if there is any
Subjects.
website.
Yeah,
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 yes.
yeah. Sure, sure. I'll give. Sure.
And there's another question from Mr. Manoj. What tactics teachers need to follow to bring implementation and coherence with the planning part of the lesson plan?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, Manoj sir. I really like the way you have put it. I feel tactics is all about how can you make a plan more effective and interesting. So there cannot be particular set of tactics which can be followed. I feel it goes as subject wise, it goes as per the interest of the children. There are multiple components when it comes to the tactics, and we never know which particular set of tactics can be applicable or is applicable effectively. So ultimately it is you should have the mastery sheet of the children to whom you are teaching. Like okay, if I have 35 children in my class, like individually you must know the child, like how is the child in the class and how is the child at home, how is she when something happens, how he or she reacts. I feel the whole data of the child should be with you, and in that way when you get for the data of all the children, which is called as mastery sheet, then you realize this particular set of tactics can be introduced or can be used so as to have the things on the track.
All right, sir. So, sir, there's another question from Manas ji. How to handle the slow learners?
I'm not able to hear you. Can you please
Uh,
repeat
uh,
the same again?
okay, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm able to hear
Yes,
you
yes.
now.
So, sir, there's one more question from Manas ji. How to handle the slow learners?
Yeah. So, sir, this is a very good question, and I really like the way you have used the word slow learners. I feel no child is weak. I feel somewhere we being the teachers, we being the educators, uh, we should always try to use the terms like in such a way there's no one weak or here, everyone has the bunch of skills, everyone has a set of skills. It is us, we need to make him or her identify oh, look at such a beautiful sets of skills you have, and it is only we need to see how those skills can be practiced, how those skills can be revised. So to answer to sir's question is how to handle the slow learners. Let them know individually. Personalization works very nicely. uh, if let us just go brief about it. If my children are learning multiplication of class 3 or 4, somewhere multiplication start by one, two by two, three by three. So there are different levels. So let's not mark a child okay, he can able to do 2 by 2 very fast, but he doesn't able to do 3 by 3, 4 by 3. Let have the levels, and let it go as per the levels. First level is one by one. Give them worksheet for the deliberate practice. Then let us go for 2 by 1, then 2 by 2, then 3 by 2, then 3 by 3. So go as per the levels. But I feel before that, sit with the child and try to find it out in which he's interested, in which skill he's interested. Mostly we being in the class, we get to know what is the interest of the child and how can his interest be used to bring him in the topic. Like uh, there are my personal experiences where I have felt when I was doing speed and distance and time, all of them in physics. So I got to know there are few, who don't want to be in the class to learn all those things, but they were very good in sports. So I thought, how can their interest of sports can be used in the topic which I am delivering in the class? Okay, so let's play with them, be with them. be like a child with them sometimes, to understand them, or let them be very open to know or to share with you all those things. And somewhere when the child gets comfortable with the teacher, I feel he or she starts get opening, and then we can realize ki, oh, somewhere his basics are not clear, somewhere the basics are clear, but he is not habitual to the practice, which is a deliberate one. So try to, get the, I will not use the word history of the child, or more than that, I will say ki, try to understand the child from a rounder way. More you understand the child, I feel better you get to know about the child, and then you may get the reason also ki, why the child is learning slowly, whether he's a child having dyslexia or any kind of thing. And then once you get to know ki, what are the roots and where it got stuck, then I'm sure the things become more easy, and you like the complexity definitely decreases, and you get that hook to understand ki, what exactly I should do with the child, so as to make them like, not like other him, but bring him in the race. I can use the word. Hope
So
I
yes, so
would.
that was answered really, really well and elaborately. So, so is it okay if we take two more questions right now?
Sure, 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 sure.
All
I
right,
don't have a problem.
that's very kind of you. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no
Um,
worries.
so we have one question from Subrata ji, that how should we plan the activities per period, per chapter, per class, per lesson? How it should be ideally?
Yeah, yeah. So, it's a very good question. It shouldn't be key. The chapter should be full of only activities, something like this. But if you are trying to introduce an activity in your plan, if it is a session-wise plan or a week-wise plan, activities need to be introduced. But at the end of the day, we need to see ki, what are the outputs. Many a times activity becomes a game, and everything is gone as it is. It shouldn't happen. Why do we conduct activity? The main important thing is to bring their interest, to make them feel what they are doing. If they are doing electricity, they use electric sail and the batteries and the wire and the switch, so they feel the things. I feel feeling is very important. But what after activity is again an important thing to know. Ki, when I did conduct this particular activity, what were the outputs I received? And from the outputs, were they able to conclude something from the outputs or the from observation? So yeah, activities needs to be introduced, but at the same time, we need to think of consequences also happen after the activities. Ki, when I did conduct this activity, these were the responses of the children. So what should I do more to make that activity more interesting, so has to have a better output? So this happens on the basis of deliberate practice. Initially, we just introduce the activities for the interest of the child or for the interest of the children. But later on, we should have more clarity. Ki, why have I conducted this activity and what good outputs I have received? So why those outputs can be used to learn the next topic very effectively.
Yes,
I
definitely. So that's very elaborately answered again. I think,
Yeah.
and sir, we have like one last question. We can take it up. Is
Sure, sure.
what do you think about constructive lesson plan, and what are your views on critical thinking?
Okay, so I just would like to know, whoever has asked this, ma'am or sir. So
Yes,
constructive in terms of what? Like constructive in terms of what?
Meena ji, can you just elaborate your question once? In the case of constructive lesson plans, what do you exactly want sir to convey, or what are you looking for? Mm, okay, okay. Okay, so I think till then we can just take one more question till Meena ji responds. So, Rashmi ji is asking that if you can explain the manipulative based activities.
Okay, so there are many actually. I know. I let me just give me a few seconds to think about it. In terms of what? In terms of which subject? Manipulation is an important thing, like all of us know, and how it is used, how it is important from the perspective of education and the class and the plan. uh, can you, ma'am, can you just elaborate more about it, like manipulation in terms of which subject, which topic you're asking?
I think this question is by Miss Rashmi Mahapatra. So, ma'am, if you are there, okay, it's science, sir. She has replied. It's related to science.
Okay, just a minute, man. I have shared the link also for the feedback. Let me improve also. I feel we all are there to improve ourselves to get the best version of us. So I have shared, but just to interrupt you, I have shared the link in the chat for the feedback form. Please go through it, fill it, and let me know where I can improve more, how I can improve more in terms of language or in terms of content or in terms of delivery, so as to do the best all the time. Okay, so Rashmi ma'am has replied in the chat also. She's particularly asking about biology, how manipulative based activities can be used in the bio. Rashmi ma'am, just give me a second. I'm just going through the resources, so I'll get back to you. Just allow me few time. Just allow me few time. Okay, so I feel biology, like suppose you're talking about the diseases like infectious, non-infectious. So there are kind of like take an example of COVID-19 where children are about to learn what is COVID-19 and what are the different symptoms and how it starts and how it affects us and what are the remedies and what are the treatments need to be taken. So there are multiple points comes under it, but how can be it structured, like being with the children of group of 4 or group of 5, distributing the topic for the group key this particular group, let us find about the symptoms in brief, let us find about the preventive measures, let us find about the virus, how the virus is, what the virus is, how it behaves in different situations in different scenarios. So how this will help them in biology is this will being together is cooperative learning. They talk more ideas, and then they think of interpreting it in their own way, they present it in their own way. Lot of ideas are exchanged when the presentations are done. So I feel uh, rather than just discussing and using PPTs for all the subjects, such activities can be used as a good way to have the best manipulation.
Definitely, sir. I think that's very well answered. And teachers are filling the form and they're giving the feedback in the chat box also again. Oh,
Okay,
that's nice.
no worries. I think
All
so.
right.
There's one more question.
Uh,
Subrata has asked.
Subrata ji. Okay. 1 minute, sir. I think Devjani ji has sent this that sir, slides, pictures, images can also help because I am also a biology teacher. I think she's replied.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know ki there's this GIF file comes when you Google anything. It could be a movement of earthworm or it could be formation of volcano. GIF is just videos of 3 to 4 seconds. It may, it may looks or it may be very small of 3 to 4 seconds, but I feel sometimes those 3 to 4 seconds work like a magic. And they even children can form their own GIF files, and the whole concept can be presented in the form of multiple GIF files. So GIF files are always best, doesn't matter whether it is arts, commerce, science, can be used effectively wherever.
Definitely, sir. I think, sir, there are no more questions as of now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody is asking you for the recording.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir, definitely. We'll actually upload the video on YouTube, sir. So we'll send you the link and all the teachers as well.
Sure, no worries, no worries.
Definitely.
I just would like to share a thought. Just ma'am, can I?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
So I just thought, though I'm a science person, I've been doing science since last 10 plus years and been working with world of philosophies and CBSE very closely on different aspects. But I feel being a teacher, we should not be a teacher only. We should try to be good uh, not in terms of personal, but professionalism, being a very good, though nobody is a artist over here, but we can have a good paint of hand and we can have a good drawing. I just feel a teacher should do kind of those things, whenever he or she is in the class or in the school, where the child should feel, this is the right place I should go and express myself. More get close to the child, and get understand the child. I feel understanding the children is very important. Understanding their needs is very important. Well, more you understand the child in a rounder way, uh, I'm sure you will love this profession. I am sure you all are good educators, and you've been doing very very well. But being with the children, there's nothing best in the world for all of us to be with the children, and to know them, to laugh with them, to have fun with them. I think this is a entirely an amazing world, I feel.
So that's really, really well said, actually. Thank you so much for that thought. You would have missed it if you haven't said it. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure, sure, sure.
Well, before we allow you to take your leave, we have again prepared, very short vote of thanks, from our end, because that's the most we can provide in the online setup. And yes, so, all right, then I think there are no more questions also as of now. We can
Sure.
start with the welcome then. All right. So another very well said quote by Sir APJ Abdul Kalam was that all birds find shelter during the rain, but the eagle avoids rain by flying above the clouds. And as spoken by Sir, it's the people who dare to be different, dare to fly high and take the initiative every time. Through our webinar series, we too want educators to be the first ones to try new things, experiment, and get the wholesome experience. We really hope that someday, somewhere, the knowledge our team ought to provide today will be useful for all of you tomorrow. On behalf of the Homework App team and myself and all the educators here today, I would extend a warm gratitude to Mr. Pramod, who took out the necessary time of his, out of his busy schedule to grace us with the knowledge today. Thank you so much, sir, and we hope to connect with you again in future.
Sure, sure. Thank you. The pleasure was mine. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, happy teaching for all of you.
Yeah, have a good day, sir. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
thank you. Bye, bye.
Bye bye,
Good
sir.
day.